Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let me kill this. Boom. Welcome to Basho Banter. This is our first live stream. So there are going to be some funky things going on. We're still trying to figure everything out, but we're going to do our best. And I want to thank Universe Japan for allowing us to use their platform to do Basho Banter. So I want to introduce who's not on video at this time. We're going to work on that for the next one. Dean, you want to say hello? Can you hear?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Welcome. So today we're going to talk about the January Basho. We're going to go over a few things. We're going to go over who's hot right now, who's cold. We're going to do some favorite. We're going to talk about who our favorites are. We're going to also do some favorite matches. I have 3 lined up that I want to show everybody and get some comments in the chat whenever anybody shows up. That'd be great. So,
Nice.
yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
So Dean, what are you thinking about this Basho so far? I mean, I am excited. I'm a little, and I'm also impressed by a few of them. And there's some surprises out there that we're gonna have to talk about. And I've got this all lined up, ready to go.
Well, yeah, let her rip. I honestly was kind of a little bit. I wasn't really ready for it. I guess I would say. Originally, I kind of wasn't sure how much I was into it with the number of rickshaw that are out. So. I think it's 90 something are out, and 60. I think how many? 65 are out due to COVID. So
Yeah.
10% of all the rickshaw across the spectrum of all the different divisions. So I wasn't really too sure, but actually I've been pretty surprised seeing some new players. Kind of got me a little interested in it again.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that there's no Yokozuna, not even one.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
And of course we want everybody to get better. Of course. So today, the first thing I want to discuss is who's hot. And I don't know if you thought about it, but for me, I'm talking Daisho.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I honestly don't. Yeah, first, too, just a spoiler alert. If anyone hasn't caught up through day 7, then we might be giving you some spoiler alerts. So I would try to be a little.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it up to day 7, then
It,
you probably
you
don't
wanna-
want to watch
yeah,
this.
yeah.
That's why we're doing. That's why it's called a recap. So
Yeah,
hopefully
let's
you're
save it-
caught
save
up.
it through next week. Yeah.
Hopefully you're caught up and you can see what's happening. But yeah, Daisho, he's looking good. He's looking strong.
Yeah, really, he is. And it's honestly kind of interesting too, because some of the guys that are out there that we usually would be looking at, the Ozeki and some of the others, aren't exactly having the greatest Basho. So it's kind of fun to see some of this kind of open up
Yeah,
opportunities.
yeah, and so let's take a look at Daisho's. I don't even have it up. I should have this up. But his record, I think he's undefeated, right?
I'm pretty sure he is undefeated. I can pop open my.
7-0.
Yep.
Yeah, because he day 7 he went against Takanosho,
Yep.
and he was
Uh,
clearly a no-show.
Through.
If I remember that one, he was pusher thruster guy, right? So he just basically drove right through him. And
Show? Yeah.
yeah, no, Daisho drove through Takanosho.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, Takanosho is 4-3 right now, so hasn't exactly had the best Basho for him
yeah,
so far. Let's see, who did he lose to? Lost to Onosho, Tamawashi, and Daisho.
yeah.
Which those are all decent rikishi, but yeah, I mean he's won some decent stuff in Takeyomi, Kageyaki, Hokuto Fuji, and some other guys. So he's actually not doing horribly by any means. But for a Sekawake, he should be definitely beating a few of these guys.
Yeah. So tell me, so who do you think is hot right now? Are you in agreement that Daisho's the hot
Oh,
one?
yeah, definitely. I'd
Yeah.
say he's definitely up there right now. I think my favorites for the first half, and you and I didn't actually talk about this
Well,
beforehand,
don't go to
but
favorites just yet.
no, I know as far as who's hot though.
Okay.
Um, I don't want to say it, but Akiyama or whatever his name is, I'd never even seen or heard of him before.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of have to
You talking about
at
this
least
guy?
um,
Yeah. It's. I got his image up here on the
Akiseyama.
stream. Yeah, Akiseyama.
Um, I don't see it yet. There you
Yeah,
go.
Akiseyama.
Yeah. So he's been having a good basho, obviously, so far. So,
Yeah.
he's Magashira 16, so not really expecting a ton.
Yeah.
But
He's a
not exactly a young
shocker.
guy either.
He's definitely
Yeah.
a shocker. This Basho,
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
a doubt. Like I did not see this one coming at all.
No, I don't think anyone did.
And if it was down to Akiseyama and Daisho, I give it to Daisho. What about you? What do you say?
Typically I would, but I think that everything's up in the air right now.
Really?
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
that's
this
not
guy.
even a win for you? Like you don't
Oh,
think
it is.
Daisho would
It
just
should.
roll
It
him?
should. It should be. It should be.
Yeah.
For sure, it should be. The only two losses so far for Akisayama is Ichinojo and Meisei. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not too surprised. Ichinojo obviously is kind of a whatever shows up that day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But
yeah, I'm not sure what to think of this guy. I mean, he's definitely interesting for
yeah.
sure to watch. I mean, he's not anything that I would have. He's 35, I think. I have to look and see
Yeah,
how
he's
old
up
he is.
there.
Yeah, he's not a young guy.
He's definitely up there.
He is 35. So yeah,
Okay, so we're in agreement on that, and I
yeah.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because he's just looking good. Um,
Oh.
but you can't count out Shodai here,
No,
and
Shodai's kind of hanging in there.
Shodai's looking. He's still looking strong through
Yeah.
day 7. What do you think?
Um, he's good. I like Shodai. I've always have. I think him and I used to really like Ikkyo, but he's got bumped down a division, so
Hmm.
have to kind of see if he ever makes his way back up. But no, I think there's definitely an option. I forget what's Shodai's record right now. I'd have to look.
I think he's 6-1, if I remember.
Is he?
Yeah,
He is. Yeah, he's 6-1. Yeah.
yeah, 6-1.
Yeah. So who did he lose to? Let me see. He lost Mitaki. No. He did. He lost to Daisho. You're right.
Yeah, it was Daisho. Daisho just like rolled right through him.
Yeah. He beat Takayasu, which is actually I'm a fan of Takayasu still. And I think he's beat a couple other decent Rikishi, Tochinoshin,
Yeah.
Osho,
Yeah.
Fuji. So he's definitely beaten a number of guys that typically you might think are probably not. Yeah, no, he's looking good too. Definitely but he's an Ozeki. He should be with no Yokozuna in.
Yeah, the Ozeki's got to be strong when
Yeah.
there's no Yokozuna's around. So
Yeah, and the Ozeki have not been doing well. So
no, I know.
that's been a struggle so far. You got Takakeisho and Saniyama's not doing too bad either. But
Yeah. So all right, let's move
so
on
if you
to
look-
who.
real quick though.
Yeah.
Looking at Saniyama, his first loss was to Daisho. So he lost to Daisho, Mitakayumi, and then to Karafuji. So even though he's only 5-3 right now or whatever he is, he's
Yeah.
actually doing pretty good. He's got a bunch of lower ranked guys he's going to be coming up against. So
Okay. So we did the hot. Now let's do the cold. So
Cold?
I'm gonna have to address the elephant in the room, and I say that pun intended.
Yeah,
Our boy Takakeisho.
yeah, that's not good at all.
I
That's
was coming
what's
into this
going on.
Basho thinking he was going to take it, and then he was on this losing streak, and I don't know where it came from. Is he injured? What's happening? What happened to Takakeisho? Who I nicknamed, by the way, the human cannonball.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What do you say?
I have no idea what's going on with him. Honestly, I'm not. I don't want to say I'm not a fan, but
Yeah.
I'm the I'm not a huge fan of Takakeisho or Yumi for whatever reasons. Um, and
There's got to be reasons.
um, well, I started watching about 10 years ago with you probably, and I kind of feel old school. It's kind of like when people talk about LeBron James versus Michael Jordan or something, right? So
Right.
these are the young punks, so I kind of get a little aggravated,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and also I get I struggle when people talk about promotion potential and things like that. When Kuguru's been out the last four Basho. Hakuho hasn't been full strength for a while, so
No.
these guys are doing okay,
Yep.
and they're doing well. But I wouldn't say it's against a full field either, so it's a little tough for me. But no one wants to see people lose necessarily either, so it is disappointing because I really don't know what's going on. If it's just a bad string of luck with
Right.
his record right now or what. And he's lost against some people that he probably should have beaten, but he's had a pretty good. I mean, his first half was pretty rough. It was with Takayumi, Daisho, Kota Fuji, Takara Fuji. He beat Koro Shinoho. I don't even know. I'd have to actually look him up. Um, he beat Onosho or lost to Onosho. He
Mm-hmm.
beat Tochinoshin, which we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
um,
Tochinoshin. He's one of your
yeah,
One of your favorites. Been one of your favorites for a
was
while.
yeah, it was still is, but yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with Takakeisho.
Yeah.
And Mitakeumi is in the same boat to some extent. I thought he was kind of on the way up, and he seems to kind of stalled at the moment. He's at Komusubi rank, and just we'll see. He's not having the best basho either.
Yeah. I don't know what to think. All I can say is he's either injured or something's gone on. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
something in training. I have no idea.
yeah.
But or people have caught on to his technique. He's pretty one dimensional when it comes to his
Well,
technique.
well, that's definitely the
So
case. I think with a lot of these guys, there's Tochinoshin. I think that's one of his struggles. Is he's kind of a one-trick pony. But he's, I think, kind of trying to do some other things. But we'll see where that goes. But
right.
yeah, I think some of these other guys, once they get figured out, like Abi and some of the others, it's just game over.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Ishiura and Enho, both demoted down. Actually, they're not even in this Basho because they're part of Hakuho's Heya, which is quarantined the entire Heya.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks. They actually probably would have been in some bouts this Basho, even in Juro, because I think they were pretty high up in that. They were, I think, 1-3 or something like that from a rank perspective in there. So they kind of, there's a couple of guys that have been in bouts this Basho that probably wouldn't have been in exchange for them if they wouldn't have been quarantined, which is unfortunate, but
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is.
Yeah, that kind of throws a wrench in the whole thing, doesn't it?
It,
It really
yeah,
does. I mean, it's one thing to have an injury in practice or in a match, but then it's
yeah.
another thing to have to deal with that, you know,
So that
pandemic
brings up
stuff. So
but that does bring up a question that when you look at like Kukuru, he's been out he's got lower back problems. At what point are they going to push him to retire
yeah,
if he's not already at that point at this point, right?
right, right.
Hakuho's not exactly too far behind him. He's made it into some,
Mm-hmm.
but he kind of is hit or miss on whether he's there. So that's really kind of, I think they were really hoping to look for either promotion or really close to promotion for possibly Taka Keisho or one of these other Ozekis, but I hope they don't, frankly.
Yeah, right, right.
I don't think any of them are ready for that by any stretch.
So I guess like halfway through this basho,
Yep.
I kind of gave up on Takakisho. So I had to kind of pick a new favorite, right? So for me, it's Shodai, and I know he's got one loss, but I think
Yeah.
Shodai, if he can keep winning and remain strong and not get hurt, I think he has a shot. Even though,
To win?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think
Uh,
so.
but that's gotta obviously Daisho has to lose one.
Yeah. I
So
think that'll happen. I think he's got some more he's got to get through. Um, I still think there's a possibility with Furunofuji or Takta Keso. Takayasu. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're both. They think they have the same record right now going into day 9.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're both looking pretty good. Um, so we'll see if they can kind of step it up. They were pretty strong before, and Takayasu's already beaten Daisho and Shodai, so he
Right.
doesn't have that hanging out there. So I think that's a definite possibility for him. And actually, Terunofuji has beat Onosho, Yasu, and Daisho. So
Yeah.
he still has to go up against Shodai, so that'll be a really interesting bout. I'm not sure what day that is. I'll have to look and see when that's coming up. That'll definitely be interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see how things play out with Shodai. I think
Yeah.
he's Ozeki, so he's at some point he's got to level up his game. He's got to rack up the wins. He's got to
Yep.
remain strong. Can't get hurt, just like everybody else.
Yep.
Um, and he's got to take out Daisho, and hopefully, let's see who's coming up next for Daisho.
Daisho next has day whatever. Let's see. Day 9. He has day 8 is Kageyaki, and then
Kageyaki,
day 9 is Takara Fuji.
right? Okay,
So he's got some wily people in here still to go up against potentially. I don't know what the rest of the
right.
schedule looks like. But
Let's see. I'm looking
one of
at
the
day 9 right now. Day
yeah
9. What do you see here? He's going up against. Oh, so Shodai's going up against Tamawashi, which
yep.
interesting.
Tamawashi's what's he setting at right now? He is setting at he's got 3 losses: Tochinoshin, Endo, and Takara Fuji, which is
Yeah.
interesting. So he's not having a bad outro
So this,
necessarily.
so
There's
this,
a guy setting at 5-3
so
for
here's the
some odd
thing. Like I'm looking at the results. Like they're already up to the 10th day, uh,
scheduling.
scheduling, right? Yeah. So we've only covered up to day 7.
Yeah,
So we're a couple days behind, and we got to break it up. Like we wanted to break it up with a week 1 and then a final recap of the entire thing. But
yeah.
um, so maybe we'll I don't know. Maybe we'll add a day or two next time, or we'll just keep it this way. I don't know how it's going to work out, but
Well, day 8
because I
always
can
is
see I could see who won and who lost.
yeah. Well, day
So
8's always the interesting one because you've got people, like
yeah,
Daisho, who's already got his, his 8 wins. So,
Kachikoshi.
yep. And
Yeah,
so you've got some guys that are on the cusp of that, and then some that'll be getting there pretty quickly. So,
yeah, interesting. I'm looking at the 9th day, January 18th, and I see Daisho still undefeated. So I'm looking forward to actually watching that.
well,
Um,
day 8 he's undefeated.
right, day 8,
Yeah,
going into
yeah.
day 9,
Down into
he's
day 9
undefeated.
tonight.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
yep,
yeah.
yep. Yeah. So, and I don't think there's anybody 0-8, is there?
Yeah, there
Other
is.
than all the guys that are out.
It was. I just saw it. Hold on a sec. Um,
I know there's a bunch of withdrawals, obviously. Oh, it's
Kot-
Koto Shoho.
Koto Shoho. Yeah,
Yeah.
the young buck, which
Wow.
I'm surprised because he was actually doing all right. He was
Well,
holding
I
his
mean, if you
own.
look at his schedule, started off with Fuji,
Yeah,
Takanosho, Tamawashi, Shodai,
yeah,
Takakeisho, Koto Fuji, Asaniyama, and Takayasu. I mean, he pretty much went up against the top 8 guys almost
yeah,
right off the bat. So, that kind of sucks for him. He has to pretty much win his next 7, and he'll still be getting his what is it, Maka? What's the not the Kachikoshi? What's the other one I'm
Kachikoshi.
drawing?
When you
Yeah,
get 8
yeah,
win, yeah,
yeah. What's
Kachikoshi.
the other? What's the other one?
Makauchi.
No, I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. Getting old. But he won't be getting his Kachikoshi now.
No.
So yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah. So
So who else? Who else do we have?
unfortunately, and I hate to report this because I haven't watched it, but for day 8,
Yep.
it looks like Shodai lost to Mitakeyumi. So
Yeah, I might have
he's
saw that already.
6-2,
Yeah.
which kind of that's not good for Shodai.
No, no, it's not. So it'd be interesting to see
So
what goes there.
yeah,
Um,
interesting.
yep.
You talking about okay? So anyway, so who's your favorite? Who was your favorite going into this?
Favorite going into week 2?
Uh, no, I mean when you first started watching, and did you have a favorite that you're hoping was gonna do well
Oh,
and potentially
this guy. It's
rack up the
on
wins?
the
Shodai?
board. You can't see my screen. I'm streaming on my own channel, but
What's
I've
his
got my
name?
I've got my Hakkeyoi shirt on. So
Yeah, but he's not in the tournament. So who's in the tournament?
yeah, no. I would probably say I didn't really have a favorite pick. I kind of went into this one a little differently. I said, hey, you know what? What if we had a new group of people to kind of get to know, see what they're like, etc. So I would say probably the one, though, that the two I'll say is Fuji and Takayasu.
Yeah,
Um, I'm Fuji to me is kind of a bit of a Cinderella story in that he did really well and I think he made it all the way to Ozeki. Then he got injured and went way down. I think he was down 2 or 3 divisions, and has worked his way back up. So I would like to see him continue to do well and work his way back up the ranks. So I'm hopeful that maybe he's going to have a solid Basho.
yeah. We have a believe it or not, somebody in chat. That's good. That's a good start.
Okay.
It's Scott Finlay. He says,
Yeah,
"This is Daieisho's Yusho, I'm thinking." And
yeah, I think you're
I
probably
mean,
right.
he's right. I mean,
Currently,
it doesn't look like anybody's going to catch him. Doesn't look like he's going to lose anytime soon.
yeah.
Uh, Shodai, I don't know, 2 losses. He also says Teru no Fuji, which I think has 3 losses, if I'm correct. That's going to be a uphill battle for Teru no Fuji. So,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
both Shodai and Teru no Fuji have to bank on the fact that Daiyosho's got to lose. Daiyosho's got to lose to somebody, 2 people at least. So,
Well, he's lost. Fuji lost to Daisho and lost to Takayasu. So those
yeah,
are two pretty big losses for him. But I think Daiyosho's got a pretty yeah. He's had a solid. It's hard to deny he's had a very solid Basho pro in the first week for sure.
yeah, yep. So, so I want to go to my skip ahead to my favorite matches.
Yeah.
So I have these lined up, ready to go. So this
Do it.
first one I have, it's going to be Akua versus Midori Fuji, who's a young buck coming up from Jiro.
Ah, yeah.
So give me 1 second here. 1 second.
I'm gonna throw that up on my screen while you're doing it too.
Okay.
Midori Fuji versus Aqua, right?
Yeah, let me know when you're ready.
Go ahead.
Okay. Here we go. And if you want me to pause it at any time, let me know. If
No,
you want to.
it's all right. It's funny. So you and I both picked this match.
As one of your favorites?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was
So
a good match. You know, it doesn't have to be all the popular guys.
So is it just me, or do you grimace when you see them wiping their armpits and then their face after that?
Yeah, there should be an order to that. All right, so he rushed it. They weren't
Yeah,
ready,
yeah.
so they got to redo it.
I'll tell you why I like Midori Fuji. I just finished watching that documentary on Chuna Fuji, The Way of the Wolf, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And he reminds me of that kind of a build. Very muscular, not the
Uh,
biggest guy by any stretch.
Oh, that was a
He's
good move.
he's so quick.
Akua's mad. Akua is
Oh, he's so
mad.
pissed. He's really pissed. You could tell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd be mad too.
yeah, I would too. But that's solid. That's really solid. I like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that was my first one. And Midori Fuji, you know, he's kind of
So
like to me. He's a small wrestler. He's like an Enho. He's a little bigger than Enho,
he's
but
definitely bigger than Enho.
you know these type of guys have to be crafty in order to win, right? So they have to be.
He's place where I think he's better than Enho or like an Ishiura, which I liked as well, is I think he's bigger, heavier, and I think his speed is different. Honestly, you're gonna probably laugh, but his speed and his technique kind of reminded me of when I first started watching Harumafuji.
Yeah.
Is he's really quick, but with purpose. It wasn't just speedy kind of quick. It was just he moves really well. In all the matches I've watched, it's been pretty impressive stuff. So
Yeah.
let me look. I can tell
He's
you.
171 centimeters and he weighs 114 kilograms.
And if you're talking Enho is 169 centimeters and 92 kilograms. So
Yeah.
how many? How
So
many?
like I was right. He was a little bit bigger than Midori Fuji. So
How many?
I mean Midori Fuji's bigger than
Yeah.
Enho a little bit.
How many kilograms is
It
Midori Fuji?
114.
Okay, yeah. So it's a pretty decent chunk though.
No, it is. It is. But yeah. So yeah, I thought that day one that was a good start for him. So then my next one here, I got it. I don't know if you remember this one. This is on day 4. It was Tochinoshin versus Endo. Do you remember this one on day 4?
Yeah. You're probably just putting that up there because I'm a Toch
Here,
fan, so
yeah. So Tochinoshin versus Enho. Okay,
yeah, I don't have that, and I'm not going to stream it even if I do.
let's take a look at this one, shall we?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Go
can,
ahead.
I can pause it at any time
No,
here.
go ahead. Oh, that's fine.
Oh boy,
Is it working?
Tochinoshin at the edge. Endo's trying so hard right now.
Oh, I gotta wait. It said your screen's delayed for me, unfortunately.
Oh boy.
Tochinoshin's problem is
Oh, he tried to grab his leg. Almost.
he's always very upright, and I think that's his downfall too often.
Yeah.
He just tries to manhandle everything. He's just so strong. It's hard not to, but yeah. No, that was a good bout. It was probably
Yeah, that was fun to watch. That was some power sumo wrestling right there.
Yeah.
And Endo, both of them were on the edge. But Tochinoshin was just a little bit too strong in the end.
Yeah, so that's
Endo couldn't hold on.
So
that was day 4.
What other ones do you have? I had a couple from day 4 I got on my.
Well,
if you haven't queued up.
I have no, I don't. I have one more here. Day 7.
Yep.
Koto no Waka versus Midori Fuji. Do you remember this one at all?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now this one, I'm gonna have to pause because it wasn't good. Let's just watch. Koto no Waka, Midori Fuji. He looks young.
Your audio is cutting in and out there. Dave.
How about now?
Now it's working.
Yeah, that's weird. It was like peaking.
Yeah, it was.
It might. Let me watch the replay here. Grabs that arm and doesn't let go. He spins him around. Grabs the wazashi. Oh, and then he grabs his arm and just cranks on his arm.
There are definitely more bouts in this particular Basho with arm throws and force outs with an arm, like an arm bar.
Yeah.
Tatari, I think, is one of them. But I have seen so many. Yeah, that that looked like that hurt on his arm.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and Midori Fuji actually likes that. He does quite a bit of that. I got to look at his background. Like Tochinoshin was like an Olympic judo guy.
Yeah.
Ishiura did like college wrestling and stuff, and so you have different backgrounds with these guys. I'm curious what his like his background is with all the arm throws and stuff that he does. What else you got? So who else? So Midori Fuji, it's funny because you picked him, I think, as one of your favorites, and I actually did as well, even though we hadn't talked about it.
Yeah.
It's his first Makayuchi Basho, so exciting to see him come up and see how he does.
Mhm.
Um, he's kind of marched his way straight up here. Um, I think the other two that I'm enjoying for the first half are Taruna Fuji, like I said,
Yeah.
and Meisei. Um, Meisei's kind of been on the fence for me for a while as far as somebody I like. I'm not sure if he's having necessarily the best basho, but enjoy watching him. Think he's got potential.
Yeah.
Um,
Meisei's he's solid for sure.
yeah,
Solid.
and then and then Takayasu, which I always called him like he looks like an Italian mobster or something to me, but he's never looks happy. He's always looking cranky, but he's definitely got. I think he's solid. He really
Yeah.
is when he's
I
healthy.
agree.
I think that's the thing that worries me about Toru Fuji is his knees are just they look like they're about to go at any time. So, but Takayasu's not exactly young either. He's 30 already. So we'll see what happens with him though.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had
Okay.
anything else you want to add for this week?
Okay. Sure. Yeah. I mean, other bouts that I would check out for people. I've got them. I can queue them up on mine. But day three, Midori Fuji was up against Hoshouryu. Both Magashira 14 rank. That was a good match, I thought. Day four was Yu Takayama against Azumaru.
Mhm.
Just called that one out because it was the 200th win for Yu Takayama. And then the Akisayama versus Midori Fuji was an interesting match on day four as well.
Mhm.
As well, and then there's a couple on day eight. I will say there's one other match I gave it an honorable mention. It's on day one. It's Ichinojo versus Turutsuyoshi. Um, there's a 7-inch height advantage and almost 200-pound weight advantage with Ichinojo.
Yeah.
He ends up winning, but I got to give credit to the other guy for hanging in there.
Yeah.
Wasn't necessarily an easy bout, and it was one of those times when will the real Ichinojo please show up? So he
Mhm.
was there, and it wasn't the Ichi no show. So
Yeah.
it
Right.
was nice to see him show up. The only other thing I would say is there's probably a couple other guys that I kind of look at and hope for, but Aoyama has been around forever. I think pretty much the entire time I've been watching. And it's unfortunate that he's kind of back to his old ways. So when I first started watching him, he didn't really do very good. And he's very much a pusher thruster, but also Mr. Slap Happy. And I think that he's back to that. And I don't think he does well when he does that.
Right.
I think when he does maybe a little bit more belt sumo and not quite so much on the slapping, pushing thrusting is one thing, but the slapping thing where it's just patty cake up on the head,
Yeah.
I think it's like Abi, and I think it's just easy for people to figure out how to get around that. So we'll see if he
Abi,
changes.
you mean Abi who's retired?
So I thought he was retired, but he's listed in the Basho as 00 and 9, which means that he withdrew. So I'm not sure if he officially retired or not because
Well,
he's still
maybe
in.
he can't until.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
From a retirement perspective, I did have a bit of a tearful moment. I was looking through older stuff and pulling it up, and I ran across some footage from
Yeah.
Guaido and Kotoshigiku, and
Oh.
those are two guys that I also miss.
Yeah.
Guaido to me just is he was an Ozeki I think almost the entire time I watched the first 6-7 years it seems like.
Right.
So never made it, unfortunately, because I think he just never, it was one of those things where I feel like he was overshadowed because you had Haruma Fuji and Hakaho in their prime.
Mhm.
So he could just never win the 2 or 3 Bashos he needed to make Yokozuna. And now, unfortunately, you're going to have guys that are going to get promoted to Yokozuna that I don't think are anywhere near as consistent or as good as him, and they're going to get
No.
promoted.
They better not
Just
pull a Kisei no Sato where they
no, they
promote him
will.
too
They're
soon.
going to have to because I mean, if you retire, if Kukuru retires, Hakkeyoi can't be far behind him. Even though I hate that.
Ha, yeah.
You know, but he's injured quite often. He's not, you know, he's pretty up there in age. He's 34, 35, 36, somewhere in
I
there.
know
I think.
it's all.
I mean, and from
Yeah,
a what do
it's
you
yeah,
well, and from what do you win perspective for him, I
yeah,
mean, he's set so many records. You look at how many Bashos people have won, and it's single digit, maybe a double digit here and there, and then it's 46 or whatever it is for him.
yeah.
It's it's unreal. So I don't think he's necessarily got much more to prove. So
No.
if they both retire, then what? You're left with a field with no Yokozuna. I don't know if that's ever happened before. So
Yeah, we're gonna
um,
find out. I mean, if that
yeah,
happens, uh,
yeah, it's just
we'll have to see.
unfortunate. But like you said, there are some new guys in here that I think are pretty exciting. It should be fun to watch. I think Madara Fuji's fun. I think there's still some guys, Toruna Fuji. I think Takakeisho, Takayumi, Onosho. There's plenty of guys who are good.
Yeah,
I don't want to put anything against them, but they testing your skill against somebody like a Hakkeyoi or Hamafuji in their prime is a lot different than testing it against the other guys in the playground. So
yeah, for sure, for
we'll
sure.
see. Awesome.
All right, well, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
We're in about 40 minutes, which is pretty good for our first one. There's obviously some things I want to sort out, but I think for this one it was fun. Thanks for joining me,
Yeah.
Dean, and then we'll catch you on the next one, next Basho Banner.
Ciao.
And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like.
Yep.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one. See
Peace.
ya.
Thanks.